have an idea too. I got an idea. Copy here real quick. One second. You started?
Yep.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. I wanted to do this. I know there's a lot of newer people, so I kind of wanted to show you guys a bit around the algo, how to add it, and stuff like that. Common things that people ask me. So I guess we'll start with the most basic. First of all, you can get the algo, and let me do something real quick because I'm sharing the trading view, but I can do this. So, one second, I can do this. So, I'm working on. I want please be patient with me because the site is still kind of like it's still kind of buggy for some reason. I keep making changes and it affects one thing, messes up the other. So I will be fixing that. First of all, you can go. I'm gonna print screen it here, I guess, so you can see it. The website is bbalgo.com. And when you go there, if you hit pricing, it'll take you automatically here. And then you could pick the 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. When you hit subscribe, it'll just take you to like a wizard. It should pop up so you can pay for it and then create it'll ask you to create like a login with your email. So do all that and that's it. For people that already have the algo, like that had it before the website, it's been giving me issues because I'm trying to link them but through the Stripe. So if not, you will just like create it from scratch and that's it. But you're not going to lose your access. Another thing is that is important to mention here is that the website, when you create it, it's gonna send me a message so I can enable it in TradingView, but it's not connected to TradingView because TradingView doesn't have that like an API for that. So just so you know, like give me I think I put it now and give me some time to add it. Sometimes you guys are like in another time zone and I'm like it's 1 and 2 in the morning and you get the algo and I'm sleeping. So I'm not gonna be able to enable you to the morning. So with that being said, I just wanted to mention that give me some time. It's not connected. I don't think it will ever be connected because TradingView doesn't allow that. But I did this so you can have a place to go and subscribe, or if you want to cancel, you can cancel. And then I added some an area like a education area as well. But if you're inside TradingView, sorry, Discord, I'm gonna put the stuff in the Boober channel. But if if you want to do it from the website, you can as well. So I wanted to mention that. Remember, it's not connected. It would take me some couple of minutes to do it during the day, or if I'm out, I'll let you know. And then at night, well, for the next morning. All right. Now, enabling and disabling. So I'm going to touch a couple of things also, so you also understand TradingView. TradingView is you can use the free version of TradingView for the algo. The algo has many indicators in one. You're going to be able to use the free version of TradingView. The only thing is that you might be limited, right? So I always tell people try the free version first. If you feel like you want to open multiple layouts like I have that I can do, then it's going to ask you to upgrade, right? Or if you want to do multiple alerts, it's going to ask you to upgrade. So that's not the algo, that's TradingView. Um, they might tell you that. So if that's if that's what's needed or what you need to trade, if that's the tool that you need to trade, then just upgrade the trading view and that's it. But just know that you don't need to upgrade the trading view to use the algo. Another thing is okay. So when you're gonna enable the indicator, I'm gonna go very basic. We're gonna go to indicators. And then you're going to go to invite only. These are all ones I'm testing and doing that I'm creating other ones. But you're going to hit the bull bear signal. You're only going to click on it once. If you click on it a few times because you see it doesn't do anything, you think it's not doing anything, but it is enabling. And it might enable it twice, like I just did there, right? When I hit it twice. So always, if you do that, if you see it multiple times, you could come in here and delete. I just muted. All right. So and then you could come in here and delete again. Okay. So when you enable an indicator, either the algo or any other, you're gonna see it here. You're gonna have this little drop down arrow here, and you're gonna see all your indicators there, right? So you're gonna see the BBV 2.7. Here you can hide it, enable it, enter the settings, or remove it by doing this remove. Okay. You're also gonna, if you're ever going to, if there's an update that I create an upgrade, you're gonna see like a little purple upgrade type of button there, and you're gonna be able to hit it to upgrade it. So you now you can upgrade without having to remove an ad. Okay. Once the algo is up, you're going to see the default mode now is going to be Blaze's chart. So you're going to see the kernel and the blue the kernels right here. Sorry, and then the 9 EMA, which is the Blazer 9, or the blue line like Blaze says. You have the yellow, which is the 50 EMA. Blaze is 50. The white is Blaze is 200 EMA, and then you're gonna have the VWAP, which is colored, right? You're gonna have the if the price is under the VWAP, it's gonna turn red, and if it's over the VWAP, the price is over the VWAP, it should be green. Okay, I'll go into the settings in a moment. I just wanted to kind of mention those things first. So by default, you should have Blaze's layout. Um, you shouldn't have any issues. If you ever want to remove or add, then you're just gonna go into the settings, right? You're gonna go into the settings here, and then here you're gonna be able to enable the or remove the 50 EMA, the 200, add a 100, whatever you want. If you want to add the cloud, the EMA cloud, which would be the from the 9 all the way to the 200. So this is representing the 9, and all the way over here is the 200. You see, and it gives you like a nice little cloud, so you can see how strong the trend is. Here the trend was bearish, and it was pretty strong. And then when it starts getting thinner and thinner and thinner, meaning the trend is getting weaker, and it might turn around like it did there, right, with SPY. So I'll remove that real quick. And then I usually have the kernel cloud, which is just from the 9 EMA to the kernel. Here you're going to be able to see the versions if I upgrade the versions. And then here are all the settings, okay? Um, I'll go through them in a moment. I think there's something I'm missing, right, Blaze? Is there something I'm missing? You had told me to mention it first. Sorry. Or are we aligned?
No, I think you're good, Rob. I think you're good.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
couldn't remember if there was
yeah, I
use
do
free.
remember,
Okay,
but
exactly.
I think you're good though.
All right.
Yeah.
So I want, I wanted to start with that. I'm going to go through what the algo has right now. Okay. Um, I'm going to show you what the algo has and where you can edit and change. I'm not going to go in detail to like all the strategies and stuff you can do with it, but I'm just going to show you what it is and where you can enable or disable. So I'll start with Blaze's strategy and what you guys see every day. You have the 200 EMA, you have the 50, the kernel, and the 9 EMA. The kernel, I'll start with the kernel. The kernel is something different. It's not, I don't think it's something that many people have, if anyone has out there. And the kernel is basically an EMA, what we call it an EMA on steroids. It's using kernel regression, machine learning. If you see in the settings, I'll go real quick here. It has like different configurations of the sorry, I missed it. Did I miss it? So here you see it has the primary kernel. So here you have, this is what it's doing in the background. I just wanted to show you guys this. These are um the different what do you call it, the regression and the different machine learning tools that we'll be doing, right? So it could be a rational, quadratic, Gaussian, polynomial, or ensemble. You could play with them. Usually the rational quadratic is the one that we always use. It's pretty simple. Gaussian as well is pretty good. You're gonna see the kernel change a bit. If I do that, it will just move just a slight bit, or maybe the color. You see it just moves slightly, or the color might move depending on the volatility of a stock. You might see it move sooner or before. Um, from what we've practiced, what we've done, I'm using this. Um, I just wanted to mention that. So it's what is that doing? Quickly, I always kind of like show this, right? So what it's doing in the background, it's it's calculating where price might go, right? On the high side and on the low side, right? And then what it will do is it will plot a line right in between the possible movements of the price. That's why it's called machine learning, because it's learning. It's showing, okay, possibly it can go to 65.86, or it can go to 65.36, or it can go to 65.85, or it can go here, or it can go there. And then what it'll do the mathematical equation, and then it'll create that average in between. Okay, so it's not something that, it's not a gimmick. It's really working. It's something that's happening in the background. And what we noticed was throughout. Oh, let me just delete all this now. Sorry. And what we Goodness gracious. So what we noticed was when we first created this, what we noticed was that the kernel was turning, green and purple definitely when it was getting weaker. So this is a strong kernel, and you see the 9 EMA is very far away from the kernel. So that means that that trend is pretty strong. And if you notice, prices always was even above the 9. It never even got close to the kernel. The wider it is, the stronger that move is, right? That trend, or I should say that movement, that leg of the move in the price action. Once it start, you see here how it starts. Let me see if I can zoom a bit. Once you see it start turning right, right there, it starts turning purple, or change to reddish or purple. That means that now it's turning over. Price is turning over. The candle started turning red, and then around here you have what's this circle will mean a kernel cross of the 9 and the kernel, right? We noticed that every time the 9 would cross the kernel, that was a strong signal of a continuation of a move. So even here, right? This is well, I have a 1 minute chart up. I usually use 3 minute, but on let's say on the 1 minute that you guys use a lot, once you have that cross there, you notice it continues one candle, two candles, almost three candles, right? So you almost got 3 or 4 minutes there dropping, right? So it pivots here. But then if you notice, it stays the whole time struggling to get over that kernel, and the kernel is still dark, it's still red, right, or purple. So that means that downtrend is still strong. So even if you're getting big green candles, right, it's still not proven yet, right? So you see it's still, and then it drops again. So that's something that we noticed. The kernel is pretty powerful, something different. Not many people are using that we have here, and that nice signal, and that cross is a nice signal, especially on a higher time frame, right? Because now you have a 5, 10, 15 minute. You're kind of like you have more confirmation of the move, right? So if you're a swing trader, if you trade options or something, if you and you want to study this kernel cross on a 15 minute, where your stock, let's say a Spy, Apple, Palantir, whatever, you can study it. Put your 15 minute chart and study and see what it does. And if you like it, maybe you could, you can put an alert or something so it can alert you and you can use that. I wanted to take some more time on that because I know this is what we use a lot, and Blaze uses it a lot. Obviously, the 9 kernel he talks about, the blue line, like he says, and then this is the strength in the move. Okay, the tighter you see this, the tighter you see a 9 EMA in a kernel, you most like this, you're gonna see it going sideways. You see, every time it's tight, that means that it could do anything at any moment. It can go higher or it can go lower. Okay, you have that. Something also different that the algo has is the algo bar. The algo bar is just, you're gonna have you know what? Let me show you as well here. It's getting in the way, so I'm going to go into the settings. If you go all the way almost to the bottom, you're gonna see algo bar, and you can either add it or remove it, and you can move it, right? So I want to move it to the bottom right. I put bottom right, and it's gonna show up over here. Boom. And then you could change the size, right? You can make it bigger, okay, or smaller. And then, so what I wanted to mention, the first box is the algo info bar. So this is gonna be something I'm gonna always be updating. Every time we add something new, like let's say I added this 9, it's gonna tell you what it's doing, right? So if this is the 9 count came out here, then most likely it's gonna tell you a 9 count came out. Be careful for a possible exhaustion or reversal. I'm gonna talk to you through this thing here, right? And this is for traders that usually, I'm a type of trader that I got tired of seeing RSIs on my screen, then a MACD on my screen, a stochastic on my screen, and then all my chart all the way up here, right? I got tired of seeing that, so I kind of created this so I could see it at a glance. Is my MACD weak? It is. It's red, and it's under the zero because it's a negative zero, right? So it's under. Let me see if I have it. I did this on purpose. So you see this here. So when the MACD is rolled over to red and it's underneath the zero, that's what you're going to see, negative zero. And so that means that the histogram is red. It's underneath, right? When you have the MACD above, it'll be over zero. So you will have a 0.1, 0.2, and then it could still be red, right? But you know that it's still above the zero line. And then the MACD will be red if the signal line of the MACD crosses over the signal line. Okay, so those famous crossovers that you guys watch for you MACD traders, like right here, you're watching for this and you see here, this MACD almost crossed here, it crossed here, and look, it dropped. Okay, so you're gonna see that right here. Once this turns red, that means that it crossed. Okay, so if I go all the way maybe to the end, there it is right there. This was the cross, and that's why you're seeing it. And now the MACD is underneath the signal, so that means that it's red. Okay, and now also the MACD is below the zero, so it's pretty weak. This could probably, buy could probably, could give a possible continuation down. All right, or any other, anything that you're watching at the moment. So I mentioned the MACD. Now you have here the cumulative delta. This is something that pro traders use a lot. You're going to see the delta or the difference between the buying and the selling. So buying would be at the top, sellers would be at the bottom. These are buying that already happened, that is happening at the moment. This is not level two. This is real time data that's happening. So 25 buyers, 50 sellers, that just finished happening right now. So why is it red? Because the buyers overtook the sellers. So that's why you have a red candle, because there's more buying than selling. Okay, this is very nice when you're in areas of supply of support or resistance. If you come into a support area and it's red, and then all of a sudden you start seeing this turn green, and this number goes really high up, and this stays low, you might have a spike, is what's called a delta spike, and it'll tell you there's a delta spike, meaning that there's 2 or 3 times more buyers than sellers. Most likely what's going to happen is that this price is going to reverse there. Okay, or for you momentum traders that are inside a demand zone, right, for a long time, and Blaze is telling you on the Discord, watch the stock. It's in it's a support zone, right? He does that a lot. So it's most likely in a green demand zone, and it's going sideways. So if you're watching that chart at the moment, you could probably start watching this. This will start turning from red to green. Now you have a nice buyers coming in, like it just did there, green. Your RSI is turning green. MACD will probably start curving up like it's doing right here. It'll curve up and turn green, boom. And then you start getting that reversal candle like we see there, you see? I forgot that the market is still open till 8 with after hours with SPY. So that's what's gonna happen. If you see here, the MACD is starting to curl a bit, but it hasn't yet. And then my MACD, um, I've done a lot of calculations with the MACD, with the lengths and with the different lengths you could use with the MACD. And I found one that works pretty nice. So you're gonna see my MACD change maybe. So if you turn on a MACD, right, a normal one like this one, and then you see this MACD maybe like this, and then this one starts turning green, is because my MACD is probably signaling before this one because of the way I have it configured. So you're gonna have the MACD, cumulative delta. You see now buyers overtaking the seller, just nine buyers. That just happened one, and then you got a green candle. RSI over 50 will turn green, meaning the momentum is on your side. Okay, or if price is starting to go down, and maybe this RSI is going from 55 to 53, you're gonna see weakening, right? Because I'm telling you that it was higher, the RSI was higher, and now it's dropping. And if it goes below 50, it's gonna turn weak and then to red, right? To that it's weak, because now the RSI is weaker. I consider an RSI pretty strong. Momentum is on your side after 50. And then after 70, you're gonna see oversold. and a RSI 20 or below, you're gonna see, sorry, oversold 20 or below, a 70 overbought. And then here, this one is still kind of like this is a controversial because this is obviously the kernel. So at the moment when I first did this, I was getting a prediction, right? So I was getting a machine learning prediction, and I was getting the next price. So if I show you here, which I think I'm going to change because it confuses a lot of people. It's so close in time that I think I might just remove it because I don't know if it's, if it's worth doing it. Um, but I want to show you something. So I'll go here real quick to the machine learning settings, and then do I have it on? Think I removed it, or yeah, I think I removed it in this version. The prediction. So I'm predict. I have before I had like I had it predicting the price, the next price over, right? So let's say 64696. The machine learning will be telling me most likely 64, depending if it's all green, 647. Let's say 647. So then it's telling you that price might go to 647, or it might go lower, right? And it'll tell you the lower one. But it's just the next candle over because it can't tell you 10 candles out, right? It can't see the future. It could only tell you based on what it's seen in the past, what it might do next. One candle over. So, but anyways, this is just showing you for now. The most important part is telling you that it's green, so that the kernel right now is strong, meaning that the kernel here is green, or it just turned green, and that's it, right? So I might just change this. I might change the name to kernel, or I might even remove it because you could see it right here. Well, I'll think about it. Um, but it's just so you can see at a glance if the kernel is green or not. And then the relative volume, you're always going to see it gray because I always give an example of like a heartbeat monitor, right? So gray is like, let's say you're always normal. This is like normal and volume. There's normal volume, but then when there's a spike in relative volume, it'll go up, right? And it'll do something like that, right? And then it'll go down, or it'll be spiking up, spiking up. So that'll show it. That just shows you that there's unusual, or not unusual, but more volume than the, higher than relative volume at higher relative volume, sorry, than normal. And then it'll show you 2 times the relative volume, 3, 4, or even 5 times the relative volume, showing you that there's a lot of volume coming in. And most likely when this comes in like that, and then you see here something called like a delta spike, or unusual volume detector, that means that there's a lot of volume that's not usual for this time. You're gonna see price, move up, and both of these, and that's a nice signal that most likely the price is gonna continue to go higher because there's a lot of volume coming in. So that's why I have that. You're gonna, it's at a glance. Most likely when you guys seeing these those momentum stocks, when you see that volume coming in, you're gonna, oh, sorry, you're gonna see that spike, okay? And that's just showing you, that's kind of like showing you similar to when you put those volume candles here, which I also don't like because it takes up a lot of space. When you see a volume candle kind of like do something like this, like you have this candle that, volume, volume, and then you have some big candle like that of volume. That's most likely when you go, if you look at it here, you're gonna see that spike in volume. So it's just telling you there's a spike in volume there, okay? And that's why that's there, because I don't, honestly, I don't need the big volume candles. I just need for this to tell me that there's volume coming in at the moment. And then I know that if I'm on the buying side and it's green, it's a lot of buyers coming in, then I know that I'm on the right side of the trade, right? Or I'm seeing the momentum coming in. So I think those were the key points there. Now I'll show you the settings real quick. You can go into settings here, and these are all the settings. You have all your EMAs. You can add your own EMA if you want. So your EMA would be here, and then you put the EMA that you want. So if you want, I don't know, a 300 EMA or something, or whatever you want. You got 300 EMA, then you put that. You click this, and then it'll plot that EMA. There it is right here. Okay. So that's if you use a particular EMA that's maybe not normal to others, and because you're bringing it in from, something that you've learned in the past, that's fine. I wanted to give, you guys the option for that. So if not, you just remove it, and it'll remove your EMA, and you just leave the normal ones. The EMA cloud that I mentioned, that's the 9 and the 200. Then you could change, the colors. If you want it to be the bullish side of the cloud, you want it to be blue, and then you want it to be yellow, you could change it up there. Then Bull Bear, this was one of the first ones I ever did. This was the Bull Bear double bottom and double tops. So now I did this because there's people that they don't have maybe good eyesight, and then let's see here. You see here you have a T1 top one and a top two of this double top, right? This is a confirmed double top here. That's why he created that line across it. That's what's a double top. So then if you want that T1 and that T2 to come out, you just turn that on. And then you have like the T1 and the T2. If I take this out, or just remove the lettering. And then breakouts would be the famous this right here, breakout, meaning that it broke out of a double top, right? Which is something you guys watch for. So that's showing you a confirmed breakout. And then a liquidity grab will be something like this. It goes down, grabs liquidity, and it comes right back up again, right? So it'll calculate that, and it'll show you a LG right here for liquidity. This was like a liquidity grab. It came down really hard up, and it created that like grabbing liquidity because there was buyers there, right? And it just came right back up. So that's what that is. That's where you turn them on and off if you want them. And then the Bull Bear bar colors. I think there's some of you that are still using it. That will change the colors depending on the strength of the RSI or the MACD in the move. So if I turn this on, this will change the colors of my. You see how it changed the colors now? So this is strong movement up. You see how it starts turning white? That means it's oversold, 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 oversold. Yellow candle or reversal. Okay. If you see a candle that's red inside but green on the outside, this is basically a green candle with um with red inside is buying pressure. So if you have a green candle with red inside, that means there's buying pressure. Okay. So you might have a green, but it doesn't mean that it's not a strong candle that might continue because there's buying, a lot of buying in there. And well, the algo's watching for that, is watching that cumulative delta, and it's seeing how many buyers and sellers are in here, and it's telling you, well, there's a lot of buying in here. So it's not like this one, right? You see green, then you got another green, another green, another green. Now you see this green here with the red around it. This is a red candle with buying pressure. So you see it kind of like, now you see this choppiness, right? So if you like watching those candles and seeing kind of like what price is doing in the candle, you could turn this on. And then here you could change. Sorry, I'm testing some alerts. Um, Here we're going to have the Bull Bear, and the Bull Bear Plus is basically is showing you right here. The MACD is bullish, and there's a bullish or a bearish divergence, right? So that's the MACD crossing with the signal, and then the bullish RSI is over 50, is over or equal to 50. So when you have a bull plus, that means your MACD is strong and your RSI is strong, and it's happening at the moment. So that means that there's definitely a strong move or something is happening. I usually turn this one on, and then you'll get the triangle, right? This little triangle that you see right here. If you turn this one on, you're gonna get a lot of false positives because this is just, you see how many arrows are coming out and on, because this just means that there's a RSI is weak or strong. So if you're in a 1 minute candle, it's gonna happen a lot. You see how here you have the candle, sorry, you have the triangle and the arrow. That's because you're getting the RSI and the MACD strong. So this is a strong signal. You see, that's why I created the Bull Bear Plus, and that's it. If you just want to do crosses or something of an RSI, you can leave this one on, and then just trade that. I have people that trade second charts, right? They had in futures they might trade like a 30-second chart, and this might work for them, right? Because look, you get this, you go short, boom, you take it quick and you get out. You get this, you go long, you take it and you get out. You see, and then in a 30-second chart, this is like a good move. So that's why that's there. I have there's something for everyone in this. Okay, then here we have your fair value gaps. Okay, so if I have a fair value gap here, I'll turn them on, and then you could extend them if you want, and by how many bars. So I'll go here, and now let me do a bigger time frame so it could look a little more. Most likely we'll find one. And I'll put regular candles, and there they are. So this is a fair value gap. Here goes one, a nice one here. So this means that between this there's three candles, right? One candle went up, this candle exploded, and then the next candle opens. The third candle doesn't overlap with the first candle. And in candlestick, trading and all that stuff, when you see that, that means that's a very strong move. And what it did is it left an imbalance. These are all buyers here, and it didn't get any sellers. So what did it do? It just took, it didn't fill anybody that was selling. So it kind of left a big gap. So most likely what's going to happen is, or it might have just left, more buyers there. So what it usually does, it price goes up, wants to come right back in here, and then maybe continue higher. Look what it did. It did just that. This is the wick right here. It went up, came right back down into this area, and then kind of like found support here again. Found support, made a pivot, and then the whole time it's still kind of like above it. So that's what a fair value gap is, and that's how you enable them or disable them. And then you could do it also for the on the way down. You see all these big areas when this dropped really hard, it kept leaving imbalances. At some point, the market might want to come back up to have to fill these orders up here. That's what that is. And you could turn them on here for value gaps, and you could extend them if you want by that many bars. And then again, I wouldn't touch this. This is the using the kernel. So this is telling the machine learning settings, use the closing price. Um, Neighbors is what it's watching how many bars out up and down it can predict, right? So here I go, number of neighbors to consider, 8. Max bars, how many bars is going to look back to calculate, 2,000. And then how many features is going to use, right? There's different features that it has, like RSI, MACD, stochastics, and you can use them all. And then dynamic neighbors is just something as well. You can adjust it by you could adjust the neighbors, right? And based on market volatility. So if you do this, it's going to adjust the neighbors, which is this one, dynamically. If it's like the market's really hard, it could, it'll change it by itself in the background. And then volatility threshold, I will leave that like that as well, 1.5. Then here more enhanced settings. You can turn off the kernel if you want. You could turn it on. You can have like this is something new I'm trying to do. Kind of use like a multiple kernel type of thing in the background. Um, the look back, all these would change the kernel the way it is, right? The way it will signal the kernel. If it, you're gonna see a thinner kernel, a thicker kernel. The thinner it is, the more volatile, right? You might get a change in the kernel quicker. So the settings that we have there are the ones that has been battle tested, right? Close 8, 2005. If you're, I mean, sorry, 12, 8, and 25. If you like to play with these things, you could always play with them. And if you mess something up, just come here and reset it. Reset the same and go back to default. So I will leave all these settings. This is gonna be recorded, so you could always come back and see these settings, okay? And then here are the different kernel uh, calculations that it can do. If you wanted to lag a bit, so if you see how it's in green here, I can make a lag. I can make it say, okay, wait, I want it to turn green a little later. So I mean, sorry, red. So if it turned red, I don't want to go short real quick because I don't know if this is gonna, go higher. So let me put a lag and see. And I already have a lag already because it's always good to have a lag of 2 because most likely this is signaling a little earlier, but you don't know if it's gonna break, to the top side since it's so tight. So you want to kind of like give it a lag of 2, and then you see there it kind of like confirm 1 candle, 2 candles, and look, it drops. So that looks bad. These are all new testing things I'm doing. Adaptive look back. It can look back adaptively depending on market conditions. So it could be really intelligent, right? So all that I'm working on little by little. Right now you could turn them on. It changes just a bit, not a lot. I think this is more like high frequency, like when you're trading really, close, really low time frames. Kernel trend volume is this is so like I said from the kernel, you see this is a nice strong downtrend, right? Or a nice move down. So I'm kind of like also you can calculate that right here. You see this? This is the calculation of the trend. When the kernel crosses, it'll recalculate again and it'll start at 0 because now it's going to start calculating from this cross all the way, to the move. So the higher the if it starts going lower, lower, and lower, this is going to continue to calculate buying, selling, and the delta. So you might have a delta like of 80, right? A negative delta of 80, meaning that there's more sellers than buyers, meaning that that strong, that move is strong, or that this, like right here, this most likely when it was here, it was pretty strong. You probably had like a negative 100 or 200, meaning that move was strong. So if I missed it, right? If I missed it, the move, and I probably want to get in halfway, which is not really recommended. But if you're seeing a really strong move like this, you might be able to risk taking a like a short or puts right on the way down because you see it's such a strong move. Now, if this was nice and tight like this, and you want to take calls up here, I wouldn't, because look how tight this is. You never know if this is going to reverse. But if you're on the way down and you missed it, now you're seeing it here, and you want to take some, some puts. Like if you're an options trader or you want to go short, then you can do it right here because you feel you have more confidence because the move is strong. Um, what else do we have? That's the kernel one. And then here you could, change the kernel settings. You want to change the colors of the bullish kernel or the bearish kernel. I like those colors. They pop out. You could change the width of the line. You could change the line style. So if you want to do like little crosses, they'll turn to crosses. You see that? If you want to do like a step line, it'll just like zigzag. You could do that. And then here, order blocks. So order blocks are your famous supply and demand, or the famous green zones like Blaze says, or the red zones. This is just simply supply and demand or support and resistance. So this was an area where price came in and took off, right? So it took off. You see how strong it moved, and it just so it created a pivot, which is normal near a demand zone. It created a pivot, and now it marks this area as an area of support or an area of what's called demand because there's buyers here. So most likely when price comes in a demand zone, you're gonna most likely find support. And what do you see here? Boom, support. You see that? It's always gonna find it. And if it ever breaks it down, it'll disappear because that was taken out. So now you target this, you can target this down. These are all areas of support on the SPY, all areas of support. If we go back, left, you're gonna find where at some point this took off. See here, boom, came down, boom, took off, left another demand zone. So if you're all the way up here, and let's say you're taking puts and you're on the way down, look at this supply zone that was this demand zone that was left on Thursday, September 4th, yesterday, right? So we ripped up, right? We dropped here. What is my target for support? I'm gonna go short or I'm gonna take puts. And I know that I'm pretty safe until I get to this area. Once I get here, what did it do? It started finding support. Look at that. Because it had it back here. And then it overlapped another one because it took off. So you notice these are very powerful indicator. Blaze uses it a lot as well when you guys are taking off in your momentum moves and you have like a nice supply zone. Let's say this thing is up here, right? And you guys are in a momentum move and it just starts like ripping up, ripping up, ripping up, ripping up, ripping up. And then all of a sudden you come in here, boom, and then you start seeing that. So now you got in here, right? So now what are you gonna do here? You're gonna most likely take profit or get out of your trade because you want to get out max profit and see what happens, right? So you could do this and then take off higher, right? But most likely when it goes here, you're going to stall. And most of the time, I would say 90% of the time when it gets in here, it stalls. And then you're going to have a chance to get in or out, to get out or decide what to do, take profits. That's supply and demand or support and resistance. Okay. And then you have your the if you want an alert to if you want price to alert when it goes into a demand zone or a supply zone, like when price hits it, you could turn this on, it'll turn on the alert for you, or you could just do it through alerts up here. And then here you can have labels too. You can have the supply and demand labels for those people that can't see color too well. You have that, and then you could change the supply and demand colors as well. So if you want to put blue, yellow, or something, you could change it up. And then I know you've seen trend lines before on Blaze's chart, but I don't know. Man, come on. Jeez, this is killing me. Hold on, let me delete this. All right, so if you got a trend line, so you're most likely gonna see a trend line Let me go maybe to 10 minute. This was just me plotting something. There it is. So here you have like, a nice trend that I found here. And then here, I call this predictive trends because whoever really trades trend lines, you guys are grabbing it from here and you're going kind of like very sharp, right? Or you're doing something like this. But this is a predictive trend line. If you notice, it kind of like pops out here after this pivot. And when it starts seeing this go down, it's gonna plot it. It has some calculations in the background using ATR and some other things. And it's showing, this plot here and this plot here. And it's really, really good. I mean, it's really good. Like you most like I like it because I know this is a little trend here, right? But I like it because when it's really taking off, and then all of a sudden it gets close to this line, which was plotted all the way back here. Look at this. Price never came in here. Look what it does. Every time it gets close to here, it'll start finding that trend line liquidity. So this calculation is very nice. And then here, what you see is automatically creating a wedge for you. So now you see price most likely come in here, go there, go in here, here, and then until it tightens up, and it could either pop off or drop. So that's the trend lines, and I did a new trend line now. The new indicator is gonna have um a trend line that's a bit more Let me see if I can give you a little sneak peek. There it is. You see that? See that trend line now? That's gonna come out in the near future. You're gonna have a nice um like a deviation, right? So you can have your trend line plus a nice a trend line. Oh, what do you call it? Like you have this a standard deviation away from that trend line. So that's trend lines. I'm going quick because I'm making this video also so you guys can go back and see it. So that's that. We have your trend lines, then your pivots, which would be your, the last time the price pivoted off of, it reversed. So it came here and reversed. And now you see here, you have your pivot. It was a bullish one. And then here, what did that pivot do? Well, there was 257,000 trades that happened at that moment, right? Orders that happened that made it take off. So here you can see how strong that trend, that pivot is. And the same thing for the pivot that's at the top, right? And this will tell you most likely what? If you're on your way up, most likely if this candle's going up, look, boom, it never broke the pivot, never broke the pivot. So this is showing you areas of resistance. This is always going to be support, resistance. Then you start adding confluence, right? You have here a pivot and an area of demand, right? So what does that mean? This is confluence here. Most likely price will come here and it'll start finding support again. Those are pivots. And then you can, play around with the pivots, the colors, how far you want them to go out, how short you want them, if they're too short or long. Right here, if you want them to come out, if you don't want them, the volume markers, the colors, and then the thickness. And usually I always create these things and then everyone starts telling me, oh, I want to change the color. I want to change the line. I want it to be shorter, longer, thicker. So I added all that. And then Bollinger Bands, you know what that is. If you enable this, you're going to get your Bollinger Band, but as a cloud. So now you have your cloud bands. This would be, the bottom of one standard deviation or two or three standard deviations. So once, if you know how to trade Bollinger Bands, you know what to do with this. I call it the wave cloud. And then you have the correlation coefficient. So I don't know if a lot of people use this. I do. This is something where you can, if you trade, let's say SPY, right? And I want to see if the SPY and the QQQ are correlating. All I have to do is just put, um, you know, QQQ, and then I'll turn this on, and it'll tell me if it's correlating with the SPY right here. So if the coefficient is at 1, that means it's 100% correlating. It means it's moving exactly like like SPY is moving. Nasdaq and SPY are moving the same way. Right here, they're not correlating. They're starting to, but they're not. They're almost like different, right? They're almost at zero. Well, right now we're after hours, so. But usually during the day. So if you have two stocks that you like, let's say an ETF and that ETF is going against, let's say, coin and a coin ETF, or stuff like that, you could turn on the correlation coefficient and see if they're correlating or if they're negatively correlating, meaning that if it's a negative one, it means that and I'm correlating against Nasdaq, means SPY is going up, Nasdaq is doing the opposite. I like that because for people that trade divergence, that's really good. You could see if if they're correlating or not. Usually, when there's correlation, the moves are stronger. See here, it's telling you the 200 crossing the 9 EMA, and the trend is changing to bearish because now the 200 is going over the last EMA, which is the 9. Here we got the ATR inputs. This is just something that it's gonna use for plotting, like if you want to, let me see here. I don't like the way this is. I'm trying to still fix it a bit, but this is just showing you one ATR from the candle. So this is where you could put, if you want to put your stop at one ATR or two ATR, you can do that, right? So let's say this is the short side for the long side. So let's say it's a green candle and I'm going long here. If you're a trader that want to put your stop one ATR out, you can put your stop right there, right? So you go long at 646, and you put a stop at 646.44, right? Or you put your stop around here. Or if you're trading off the chart, you could just do it right there. So that's what that is. I want to make that a little prettier, but for now, that's what it does. That's limitations that TradingView has. Let me go down. That's that. And then the algo bar, move it wherever you want. Center, bottom right. Somebody asked me if you could do top center. I think I can, but when you do, this gets in the way because most likely there's some stocks that have like more, you're gonna have more data here. I might do it if you guys want it. You just know that it might overlap with certain things because it's in the middle and the top, but I can do it. So you have that, and then you have the famous VWAP. So you can anchor the VWAP. It's always on the daily. Daily meaning it starts recording at 9:30 at the open. If you do a weekly, it'll start at 9:30 Monday, and it'll continue to cross that VWAP. The VWAP won't reset the next day. It'll reset after the Friday, and then monthly VWAPs for those that trade that like to anchor VWAPs, and then your deviations. And then here,
Two? Yes.
okay. Here you can make the VWAP change color. If it's under the price, if it's under the VWAP, it'll turn red. If the price is over, it'll turn green. Or if you want a regular VWAP, you just put regular and it'll turn it white. And then you could change the VWAP color to whatever you want. By default, it's like how Blaze has it. And then the how thick you want the line and the line style. And then sometimes I think Blaze has this on, and they are standard deviation of the VWAP. So these are very nice. I like trading these sometimes on a choppy market, on a sideways market. When the market's going sideways, you're gonna have your VWAP line, right? So let me maybe clean this up a bit. Let me take out let me take out the 90, the 50, and the 200. So now we have standard deviation 1 and 2. The VWAP is in the middle right here, and then another negative standard deviation down, right? So here, if you see prices kind of like going sideways, if you could trade this, right? You could trade a rejection off a VWAP, and let's say the market is moving choppy, but still giving you a nice move down. You could always trade a rejection off the VWAP to this band, and most likely this band. You see how it finds support there also. So there's a lot of things in trading that's going on in the background, right? And the algo, which is something that I love when people say all the time. They tell me, Robert, I turned on the algo and it was like, oh my god, I have people. A lot of people recently, newer people, were telling me, I the minute I turned on the algo, I realized everything I was doing wrong in my entries. Like, so you turn it on and they're like, oh, I went long here. I bought here, or I sold here, and this is a support zone. So it's yeah, it brings the chart to life and it shows you all the things that are happening in the background. And then some newer things. You have the absorption indicator, which is the diamond, meaning that there's buyers here in a supply zone, but the sellers over are just overtaking the buyers. So buyers are coming in a supply zone. If you see, it's trying to like, so here this wasn't at some point the buyers were trying to overtake the sellers and they couldn't, and it was absorbed and then it dropped. You might see that always in supply zones or demand zones, especially if you're in a supply zone and it's coming up and it's just like you see prices just going in there and it's never dropping, never dropping. What is that doing in the background? It's telling you that it keeps on buyers keep buying up all the selling that's here. So 20 lots, they bought it. 10 lots, they bought it. 50 lots, they bought it. 100 lots, they bought it. Boom, and it breaks out. So this is a nice indicator sometimes that it might break out of a supply or a demand zone. And then another indicator people love is the this 9 count, right? Which is basically I'll show you real quick here. I want to put this so we can like kind of like leave it recorded right in the live. So the TD9 sequential is basically a famous indicator that a strategist did. His name is Tom DeMark, right? So Tom DeMark created this. He realized that after a 9 count, like after 9 counts of a certain move up, like candles, but every candle. So here, let me get this out of here. So you see here, a buy setup occurs when there are 9 consecutive closes lower than the close of the fourth bar, of 4 bars earlier. So you got 4 bars earlier. The next bar opens up below those previous 4. Another bar opens up before the previous 4. Once you count that 9 times, most likely it's showing you that there's exhaustion coming in the move. And he noticed that, right? So if you notice, look at this, dropping, 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 dropping. You got your 9 count here. Look what it did. Boom, reversed. And you get your green 9 because most likely there's going to be a reversal. Okay. Most likely when you get this, the next candle open is higher, then most likely this is confirmed and it might continue higher or it might stay above, like you see there. Okay. The same thing you might see on the way up. So here, this was strong moves up because SPY was like really crazy today. But well, here's a good one. So here's up, 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 up. You get your 9 count. This one tries, but then fails, right? So most likely when you see this yellow candle, you could start taking profit. You could, see how far you are from a 9 and the kernel. There we'll go into Blaze's his strategies that he'll teach you, with this in your one-on-ones. But you're so far away here from the 9 EMA that most likely this trend is still strong, right? So what did it do? It tried. It sure worked out because look, it went down, but then went right back up because how strong the move was, right? Here again, it did it again. It tried. Look, you see, it didn't create a higher high here. It opened up lower, then it almost then again. Okay, so that's all it's doing. It's doing that in the background. I wanted to put that print screen here just to leave it for the so you guys can pause it later on and read it if you want. And this is also on the Bull Bear how-to channel. So this is a nice indicator that a lot of people are loving. I have a new trader that loves it. He gets in here. He always gets nice entries and he says, Robert, once I see that yellow candle, I'm out. I'm like, okay. That's good. If that's enough for you and you think it's great, then great. So that's a good strategy. So that's that. If you want, if you guys got any doubts, I'll take a couple questions so we can, not make it that long because this is going to be a video also for others to see in the future. So I want it to be more of me, explaining a bit of everything and then yeah, that. So let me see. Is there any questions or if you want to? Oh, I didn't see the chat. Blaze has been talking there. So, okay. Are you going to put? Yep. That's all right. Any questions, guys? You guys want to unmute and ask me something or? If not, then I did a really good job explaining.
Rob,
What's up?
the purple pivot.
Yeah. Oh, good question. The purple pivot is unusual volume found here. So this is not normal volume. So here you might find, remember, I'm calculating also the unusual volume would be 2 to 3 times the usual volume that for this chart, right? This is let me take out these all these lines are killing me. All right, so when you get the purple pivot, it just means that there was more or unusual volume here, unusual selling volume. So that's what happened here. It came in hard and then it found a lot of sellers here and it dropped. So that's unusual volume that it found on a pivot. You can see it at the top or at the bottom. You're gonna see a purple here or a purple above. If you see a purple above or below, that's what it is. It's unusual volume that it detected at that moment that it created the pivot. I think sometimes that to me is a key signal as well, because most likely if price dropped here and it's gonna start coming in here, most likely it's gonna find that resistance, right? Look at this big candle here and it went all the way down, again all the way down, drop. Look at that. So if you're looking at this like this, look what we're seeing. Down, 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 down. It created this big purple pivot. Boom, look at that big spike up. But it found all these sellers here and it dropped again. Trying again. Boom, look at that. Boom, all the way, ripped it all the way back down here. So this purple pivot showed you that there was a lot of sellers here and it proved itself right here. Then they retested and they broke it out. But that first touch, second touch, third touch, it dropped. So it proved that this area was very strong selling. Excuse me. You got it? Make sense? Anything else? Yeah. Let me see. The chat. I saw purple B. Okay, the B's. The B's is just a break in the trend line. So if you have a trend line, you have a trend line like this. The purple trend line, and then you get, and then price breaks it here. You're gonna get a B, meaning that at some point there was a trend and it just broke the trend here. So you get a purple B or a green B or something like that. That's just showing you it broke a uptrend or a downtrend. That's what the B is for. Master list of the algo bar messages. I do have a PDF that had it. I gotta update it because it had older messages, so I gotta verify. But I think I have a PDF somewhere that has the messages. But I gotta I gotta make update some of that. Can you please tell what the indicator name is again? BB Algo. Is there testing for the algo? I can give you a trial, definitely, sure, no big deal. I can give you, like a week. That should be enough, like on a Monday, and then you use it the whole week, and then if you like it, you can get it. Just DM me, okay, Ibrahim? Ibrahim, you could email me. That's one of my best friend's names, actually, Ibrahim. You only went in the input. You only went into the input. Are you also correct? Because the input now is everything, guys. The input style is gonna be like this now. It's not like before. Before, the style, and this is something because of TradingView. It's hard to explain. For TradingView developers, they would understand. So when you first create like simple indicators in style, if I put a line, TradingView helps you by telling you, okay, this line that you're plotting, here are the different styles. You could change the colors, you could change the lines, but since I'm doing everything here now, I'm giving you all the things here. So it kind of like blocks this out. In TradingView, kind of like doing once you start creating your own inputs like these, it automatically blocks the style. So now you can't change colors and stuff like that here. But if you notice, it's a mess. Like it's a lot of stuff. So that's why I started do. Style, I think to me was something that was really confusing a lot of people because they were getting in here, then they would have to come here to change the EMA color or the line, then they would come back and they would have to come back in here to do other things. So I wanted everything to be inputs. I just spoke about the nine symbol. Go back in the video. I spoke about it. It's a TD sequential, the TD9 sequential. It'll count nine bars, consecutive bars above the previous four, and that's just an analysis that Tom DeMark, a famous analyst, did a long time ago, and I heard about it from a hedge fund. They were using it a lot, and they said that you know that they were pretty accurate. You know that they were their percentage of trades were winning a lot. You know they were doing their percentage of winning was pretty high. You know in options and all that stuff when they were using it. So um, I loved it and I looked it up and then you know I kind of like adapted it to the indicator. Best way to submit a bug report, Discord email. Yeah, man. For now, you can send to info at is it support at bbalgo.com. Or you could just put it in the and you could just write to me or put it in the BB Bull Bear How To channel or Algo channel. Just write it there and then I'll look it up. I'll find. I gotta find a better way because we're getting a lot more people now. So I gotta find a better way to submit those things. Yeah. Did you find a bug? Did you find something that's weird? I always tell people always tell me, yeah, it's fine. Everyone always tells me things they find, and I always end up fixing it. Right now we're a lot of newer people here, so but if you see seasoned people that use the algo, and you could always ask in the what is it in your legend, your legend, your stock legend channel, stock legends and all that, general legends or stock legends or options or whatever, you could always say it in there and somebody always has an answer about the algo. So, because a lot of people are using it. Yeah, but if you find something, let me know. We always try to fix it. How long has this been? Oh, nice. It's only been like an hour. Perfect. I don't want to keep it too long. Minor stuff. Okay. All right. Let's see. Send it to me. Send it to me through the DM solo. Yep. You meet. Nice time. Thank you for coming and hope you guys enjoy the indicator. And I know a lot of you are new, so just take your time. What is the difference between a green circle? So that was the kernel crosses, guys. The kernel cross. When you have a kernel cross here, you see this red one. That means the 9 EMA crossed under the kernel. That means a bearish. It's a bearish one, and then a bullish one would be the 9 EMA crossing above the kernel, and now the kernel's below, and now you're getting a strong move up. This is the famous I said the the famous indicator that we've been using a lot lately, and it works nicely. Man, Chris, thank you for that. Thanks for the feedback. Does your indicator also include the? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's that's kind of like what I'm kind of doing with these well, Ishimoku is more like a similar maybe to a Bollinger Band, the Bollinger cloud that I have. Did you see the Bollinger Band clouds? I have that. It's similar. And then you have this cloud, right? Or the one that's from the 9 EMA to the 200. All around very well said about everything the outlines were great. Good. That's what I wanted. And then you guys could always go back. I had a lot of new people that were just like, lost. And then I do usually after an update, and I have an update coming, but I didn't want you guys to have to wait for the update because then we're going to talk about only the update and other things. And then you guys are still going to be lost, right? So that's why I wanted to do this. So we're at about a minute, an hour and 12 minutes. So we're going to cut it here. Thank you. If you have more questions, just put it in the chat, write it to me, and we can get you squared away. If you wanted that trial, whoever it was, just write it send me your trading view username, and I'll give you a nice little trial. All right, Blaze. I think you can end the recording.
Okay, sounds good, Rob.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night and a good weekend. Okay.